Hi, I'm Danny, and this is my July wrap-up. Unfortunately, I was correct. I was in a major reading slump, so I didn't get any more than the actual 4 books I planned to read done. And the first 2 books I finished this month are the first and second book in the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy, 50 Shades Darker and 50 Shades Freed. And I definitely enjoyed them just as much as I did the first time, and I'm definitely glad I did them on audiobook because I didn't really feel like reading when it was time to read them. So I'm definitely glad I did them on audiobook, and I definitely enjoyed them just as much. While I like 50 Shades of Grey, 50 Shades Darker and Freed are definitely my favorite of the trilogy. The third book I finished this month was Lullaby by Amy Hawkins. This is the second book in the Water Song series. I did not love this one as much as I loved the first one. It was definitely a lot more information than you got in the first one. You get to see Jima and her new lifestyle as a siren, and not only fighting this hunger that she feels, even though she doesn't quite understand what it is at first. You later find out what that hunger is as you go throughout the book. But this was much more of Harper's point of view through most of this book than Jima, so it took me a little bit longer to read it than I thought it would. But Jima's points of view I definitely flew through because they were interesting, and you got to learn the history, not only some more of the history of the sirens, but some more of her power and the temptation of her wanting to feed that hunger. I like this book. I gave it a 3 star on Goodreads, and at this point I do not think I will continue the rest of the series, but I probably will at a later date. The last book I just barely managed to finish this month. This is about a teenage girl named Nyx. On her 17th birthday, she is traded by her father to the Gentle Lord, who is basically kind of a demon lord, and her father traded her to him because he went to the Gentle Lord before his daughters were born and asked the Gentle Lord for children. The Gentle Lord agreed, but he refused to give him sons, which is what her father wanted. Cannot remember Nyx's father's name, unfortunately, so I'm just going to keep calling him her father. So after he makes his deal with the Gentle Lord, his wife dies in childbirth. Comes out, while they are twins, they are not quite identical, they're more fraternal. Nyx comes out looking like her father, and her sister comes looking out like her mother. Nyx's father pretty much hated her his entire life. I think that in some way he was subconsciously punishing himself by punishing her because she looks like him instead of his other daughter, who looks like his wife, who he definitely did love. He did not expect her to die during childbirth, so I did feel for him in that way, but I hated him for most of this book for the way he treated Nyx, like she was nothing but a problem and something he could use to get what he wanted, which pretty much was what he was doing. So on Nyx's birthday, she gets married to the Gentle Lord, and she moves to his castle, and she's been trained her whole life in order to seduce and kill him. And of course the Gentle Lord kind of expected this, so he's prepared for it. But slowly throughout the story she starts finding out more about him, and she kind of softens towards him and eventually starts falling in love with him. But at the same time she's kind of in love with this other creature that lives in his castle called Shade, which looks exactly like him. I thought that they were just like 2 people split into an evil side and a good side, which kind of is what it was. So as Nyx goes along, she becomes less and less likely to kill the Gentle Lord, and she ends up falling in love with him, and the ending is so bizarre that I definitely did not see it coming. I expected something like it, but it seemed like every time you're like, okay, this is the ending. No, something else happens. Okay, no, this is the ending. No, something else happens. Oh my God, will you just get to the end of this book? But like I said, it was good. I gave this a 3.5 stars on Goodreads. Well, that was my July wrap-up, and I will see you guys in my next TBR. Bye!